Top Alcohol Dragsters. This is the first round of their FIA Championship here at Santapod. And the British fans will all be watching this man, Rob Turner. Can he beat the odds and take an early lead in the 5-round series? Then it's the spectacular funny cars, and this man, Michael Kagrad from Sweden, will certainly start as favourite. But before we join race commentator Graham Beckwith, let's go to Steve in the pits.
This is a Top Alcohol Dragster, and don't look because it's semi-naked at the moment. But down in here you can see without the bodywork on, there's hardly anything in this chassis at all. That's because most of the business happens back here. Come and have a look at the engine. This engine runs on methanol, which is a type of alcohol. It's not as tasty as Scotch, but it's much more potent, because this engine will put out 3,500 horsepower. And don't forget, a Formula 1 only produces 800. So how fast does it go? Well, it'll do the quarter mile in about 5.8 seconds, heading over 260 miles an hour. It's a fantastically competitive class, and all the top drivers are here at Santapod this weekend.
Thank you, Steve. Join us here at Santapod with this mammoth crowd ready for round one of Top Alcohol Dragster. This man on a bye run, this is Jarmo Roivas, the #1 qualifier, set a new European mark of 5.76 in qualifying. Means he gets the privilege of running a solo, but he'll still want to try and put a good time down, because the best time in the previous round means that you get lane choice. Now then, the crew chief for Jarmo has been working his own kind of magic this weekend, predicting the times as he goes into stage. On the green, it's the loud pedal, Jarmo away, looks a very clean run indeed. Let's ask the crew chief.
How did the run go?
Pretty much as planned. We were shooting for high 80s, low 90s, so that was according to the plan.
So that's perfect. Is there more in the car?
Yes, there's some left, but we didn't want to risk anything on a bye run, but that's a good baseline for the next round.
This then, our next race, #5 qualifier Dave Wilson for Great Britain, the Krypton car. He's racing the #4 qualifier Peter Schofer from Germany over in that left-hand lane. Well, as we take a look, a close-up there at Dave Wilson and all that horsepower sitting right behind his head, don't forget Peter Schofer is the man with the smallest engine in Top Alcohol into pre-stage. Quickly followed by Schofer. Wilson moves in. At the start line, it's Wilson, I think, got the jump on Schofer. But look at half track. Schofer takes the win. 6.05. Well, in slow motion, you can see I actually made the right call. It was Wilson away first. A 0.61 to a 0.66. Neither of them very quick reaction times. But you can see 2 car lengths at the finish line. Schofer takes the win into the semis. Well, this is our #2 qualifier, the reigning European Top Alcohol champion, Peter Beck from Switzerland, and regular, his crew chief, his young lady too, motions the boss forward. Should have been racing Faye Fisher for Great Britain. Faye broke behind the line, so in effect a bye run for Peter Beck, but he doesn't hold back. Nails it to the floor. 6.01.
You're not happy?
Well, we have done a 5.85 yesterday in second qualifying, so we would like to go closer to this time. But 6.01 for this morning is okay, because we still have to set up the fuel system. We're still working on it.
Well, this is our final race of round one of eliminations. Dougie Bond for Great Britain, Rob Turner for Great Britain, and Turner, the #3 qualifier, Dougie Bond in at #6. What this means, of course, is we are guaranteed one Brit in the semi-finals. And on paper, it has to be said, Rob and Steve Turner have put together the best combination thus far. Running still with a fairly standard supercharger setup on the car. This may be the last outing for the Turners with the current setup. They only run 1 magneto on the car, meaning of course 8 spark plugs. That's all going to change for the next outing. That's going to be a 16 plug Hemi in that car and a Whipple screw type supercharger. So lot depends on Rob's reactions here, of course. Psychologically, the last man into stage had an advantage. Rob Turner knows all about that. Steve Turner leaves it up to his brother. Both in free stage. Turner forward in stage first. On the green, it looks to be Turner away first. And look at mid-track. Doug Bob clicks it off. Turner wins 6.13.
What about Beck and the other fellow? Can you beat those guys today?
Yeah, we want to fly the flag for Britain, so I think we'll do it.
Well, in slow motion, I was wrong. Look at that. All credit to Doug Bond. Away first out the line. Mechanical problems it was. Let the team down. Turner takes the win, as you can see. Well, let's look at how the semi-finals pan out. Jarmo Roivers races Peter Schofer. Peter Beck races Rob Turner. Those are the semis.
Today is also the first round of the FIA Championship for the top alcohol funny cars. Fast and hard to drive. Let's join Steve in the pits to find out more.
Funny cars are one of the most popular classes in drag racing, and this is a top alcohol funny car. It's because the engine here runs on methanol, and it produces around about 3,500 horsepower. But get this, the driver sits right behind it. His shoulders are almost rubbing on these monster rear tyres. When the top comes down, there's no way out apart from a small escape hatch above his head. It's monstrously noisy inside. He can hardly see over the top of the engine, and it's extremely hot. They're wild, wild cars because they've got very short wheelbases, so they're skittering about all over the track. They'll be doing about 260 miles an hour and making these passes in just over 6 seconds.
This is race one, the semi-finals. Leif Andreasson burns out, and this man, Michael Kagerad, long-time favourite here at Santa Pod. And this an all-Sweden semi-final. Andreasson arriving as the number one qualifier. The crew chiefs having all kinds of problems to get the cars down. So many technicalities involved in fuel, clutch, and with these mighty supercharger setups, this can be anybody's race. A lot of it depending on the crew chiefs. Well, the crowd really are soaking up the atmosphere. The de-icer goes on. The butt catcher, Michael Kagerad, set for this run. Don't forget the psychology plays such a big part in these races. Anybody's race on paper. Rolling gently into stage. Andreasson, the Firebird, notches up that first line. In goes Kagerad, and the green, it looks to be Andreasson away first. And at half track you can see the wing goes to the Firebird in the far lane, 5.98. Well, this is our second semi-final. The Star-Cotter man, Leif Helander, alongside the Dutchman with the Dutch Spirit Fort Pro, Alex June. Well, June, the number 3 qualifier, Leif Helander, the number 2 qualifier. And I now understand Star-Cotter is a Norse legend, a giant from the Viking days. So, Saab 900 is the body for Leif Helander, and it's a new Ford Probe car for Lex June. Of course, Holland's finest. Well, the drivers, as you can see, heavily suited in there, well belted into those roll cages. Safety is absolutely paramount in drag racing, and the long wheelie bar at the back of the car. Here we go, Helander into stage, followed by June at the green. Well, look to be June away first. Away they go, and watch for Helander breaking parts. There goes the bag in. His June takes the win, 6.16. In slow motion, you can see it was Lex June with the advantage away from the start line. Helander ran close to the wall. Look for the puff of smoke. That's engine parts going away. Lex June into the final. Well, let's take a quick look at that final. That's going to be Leif Andreasson racing Lex June.
Now, drag racing has been attracting increasingly large numbers of spectators, and one man that's been largely responsible for that is European drag racing promoter Keith Bartlett.
In the States, for the last 5 years, they've been running funny cars and dragsters as a separate class, which you have to do. Basically, it comes down to a weight break. You know, normally funny cars are much heavier than dragsters. If you come to a good quality track like this one, there is always a chance that a funny car could win the day. If you go to the marginal tracks, that power to weight ratio doesn't make any difference. Dragsters will run a 580 and a funny car will run a 612. There is no way ever will the funny car beat the dragster. So we've now brought our rules in line with the American rules, where funny cars race funny cars on equal weight break, equal power ratio, and dragsters. Makes for exciting competition. It's quite a spectacle.
Let's get to those semi-finals we've been looking forward to. First through the burnout was Peter Schofer, and this is going to be a hard man to get round. Finland's Jarmo Roivas. Thunderbirds are go, it says on the car. The crew chief has been predicting the times. That car is going to run all weekend. Is it going to carry on right here into this semi-final? Don't forget, Peter Schofer runs the smallest engine in Top Alcohol. It literally cowers underneath the blower. Just take a look here. Hard to spot where the engine is. It's the tiny Chevrolet hidden by Peter Schofer's helmet. He knows the German crew have got a lot to do here. Moving forward into those staging beams. Peter Schofer nearest to us. And again, don't forget the psychology of that start line. Nobody wants to be the first one into stage. The crew motion Roivas forward. Peter Schofer into P stage, followed by Roivas. Into stage goes Schofer, followed again on the green. It's Roivas away, and look by half track, 2 car lengths ahead. Takes the win, 5.76.
How's the run?
We're really pleased. We ran a 5.76, and that was about what we were shooting for, but you know, always in eliminations you were so nervous, and we were really pleased that it worked out good.
Well, looking in slow motion, you can tell that it was Peter Schofer out of the whole first, a 48 to a 52, but the power of that car took Roivas through into the final. This then is our second semi-final, and all the hopes of Great Britain hang with Rob Turner taking on Switzerland's Peter Beck. Now don't forget, Peter Beck was the number 2 qualifier, but with quite a different situation where Beck and team have been unhappy with the setup of the car for this weekend. Rob and Steve Turner are indeed happy bunnies with the car. The way it's going into this round, they have reported no problems at all. And how good it would be for Rob Turner to find that first 5-second time for the car with the current setup. Well, that's the high that the Turners go into this semi-final with. Who knows what Peter Beck has got up his sleeve. Again, we're into the high drama of staging. It is Beck in first, followed by Turner. Beck into full stage. Well, no, Turner makes him wait a while. So both cars sitting on the start line in free stage, and you can cut the air with a knife. It's Beck goes in first, followed by Turner. And take a look at this, nothing to choose between the cars, and the finish line is Turner.
All that applause is for your team. How'd you feel?
Oh, brilliant. We came into that round as the underdogs, but it's all worked out for us, and we could sort of relax a little bit now, look at the computer, and I know we've got a tough one in the final, but we'll give it a best shot for Britain.
That's it. You keep coming from behind then. Can you do it in the final?
Yeah. I mean, Rob was determined to cut a good light on that run, and you saw that with the staging. Both drivers wanted to cut a good light, and it got real tense there, but it all paid off in the end.
Well, take a look in slow motion, 0.08 of a second advantage to Peter Beck away from the start line, and you can see that advantage in that shot. But Turner, the horsepower there to pull them through to take the win for Great Britain, a great win. The final then in Top Alcohol Dragster, Jarmo Roivas for Finland and Great Britain's Rob Turner. Who would have believed it? Hold on to your hat. This then, the final of Top Alcohol Funny Car, and it pits Lex June for Holland against Leif Andreasson for Sweden with the Firebird. Both crews are putting an enormous amount of work to get these cars to the final. Let's talk to the man himself.
We feel pretty good. The thing is, we got a real nice team. We got good guys working for us. We got good sponsorship. Everything worked out real good. We got the power. we are relaxed, really relaxed.
Lex June's in the next pit and he's got his arms up to his elbows in grease, but you're just like hanging out in your shades.
Yeah, that's the way we do racing. We are Swedes.
Well, in time-honoured fashion, that was the view of the Swedish jury. Let's have a word now on behalf of Holland from our man Lex June.
I caught Leif sort of like snoozing in his car like he was half asleep. You know, he's just hanging out, not working on his engine. Do you prefer to get involved?
I'm always involved. I want to know exactly what's going on, and on that way I can perform the best. Yeah.
So you're up for this final then?
Yeah, I'm really pumped up, and I think we're going to win it.
Well, there we go. You take your choice. You're cool for Sweden or you're pumped up for Holland. Either one of these cars now going to face off. This the final. And what I've certainly looked forward to. Lex June so close to running in those fives. Leif Andreasson already in the 5-second zone with the Firebird. And this could really be anybody's race out there. Who's going to be the first into stage? It is Lex June who bobs in first, quickly followed by Andreasson. But neither driver wants to stage. Look at this. They both sit there with the engines revving. Nobody moving onto the start line. It's really down to the drivers now. Who's going to give in or go into stage first? Or is it going to be down to the chief starter? Well, in effect, Andreasson moves into stage, but June doesn't follow him. Well, the engines on these cars are going to be melted onto the tarmac. Still no June. The starter thumbs the go button. Andreasson it is, takes the automatic win.
What happened on the line?
I think they started way too long. Have to let the car go earlier. I'm upset. Yeah.
And despite a protest about the starter's decision on the start line, it has now been confirmed Andreasson is the winner in Top Alcohol Funny Car.
Ian, what happened on the line?
Basically, what we had is what we call a classic burn down. Both cars going into pre-stage. There's an old rule that goes in drag racing. The last person to stage will be the first person to leave. Both had a burn down situation going on, neither wanting to go in. And then obviously the car in the left lane went in, and I then had the crewman telling me that I'm going to press the button. That ain't the way it happened. I'm the one that makes that kind of decision. However, Alex, or Lex June, had the opportunity to go in, waited too long, and he didn't get the light. That's the way it is.
How long do you give them?
It's down to my discretion. I mean, if they've sat there for quite a while, those engines are getting warm. And the last thing we want to see is a car leave and do an engine, blow something up or have a problem. So it is down to my discretion, and it depends on many things. It's difficult to discuss.
But you gave those boys every chance, didn't you?
Certainly did, yeah. I gave them every chance I had. Neither of them wanted to stage. The guy finally went in. Lex was messing around, and he lost out through it. Maybe he won't do it again.
Following the controversy of that final, the table now looks like this. Leif Andreasson on top of the pile from Lex June, Leif Helander and Michael Kagaran. And now to this, the big one, our final of Top Alcohol Dragster in round one of the FIA Championship. Jarmo Roivers and Rob Turner. And who would have expected Rob Turner here in the final? Let's hear what the man himself has to say about this final.
Fantastic semi-final, you're into the final. How'd you feel?
We feel great about getting through that round. We were the underdogs in that, but we're the definite underdogs in this final round. Steve's tuned the car up, and I've just got to try for a real good reaction time.
Well, let's get the views of this man, the champions-elect from Finland, Jarmo Roiversen team.
Jarmo, do you feel good for the final?
Yeah, very feel good. I think we win.
Well, you've heard Jarmo's views. I think the views of the Turners quite a bit different. Everything going well too. Nice runs under the car. I know Rob clicked it off early both times. No problems to report. And they would dearly like to end their day beating the man from Finland and running a 5 into the bargain. Well, that would be a fairy tale ending, but that has got to be the plan for Steve and Rob Turner. They're in the nearest lane to us. Rolling forward, Steve Turner urges his brother into fight mode. Here we go, free stage. into stage first. Who's it going to be? They sit on the start line. Turner goes in, Rivers follows, and away they go. Look at the wheelie, but smoke in the tyres. Yarmo Rivers hands the win to Rob Turner. Well, the times weren't in it, but look at that monster wheelie from Rob Turner. That will have rung his bell to some tune, but the lack of a proper burnout for Yarmo Rivers, that is what took the race away from him. Smoke in the tyres.
He must have known Yarmo was in trouble because he hadn't seen him come past him at the point when he was in problems. So it was one of those type of races that are entertaining for the crowd, even though they're not particularly good times.
You looked a bit nervous before the start.
Yeah, we were. Like the pressure was on us because we were the underdogs, and we didn't know exactly what the car was going to do because we've made quite a few changes on it, and I think I'm going to change it back now.
That's well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I'm delighted to take a look at the leaderboard now in the championship. Rob Turner for Great Britain up on top of the pile. Yarmo Rivers in second place, last year's champion. Peter Beck in third. Well done, Great Britain's Rob Turner. We spoke to him and funny car winner Leif Andreasen.
To start with, we had a hard fight on the starting line. We fired up the cars and we went into a pre-stage after burnouts. And after that, I'm a Viking, he's from Holland, and that tells the story. We're staying there, trying to do something. I don't know what we were doing. After a while, I think now it's someone else had to do it. So I went into stage and I got a green and I went. What we can see on the computer is that when I went into stage, I rev up the engine up to 6,000 and I was staying there at least 10 seconds and then the computer was shut down.
Now to Rob Turner for the story of his final.
Came into stage and then left the line. The next thing I knew, wheels were up in the air looking at the sky. So there was no way it was coming back down. So I had to lift off the throttle, got the car back down, and then the next thing, I couldn't believe that Yarmo wasn't in front of me. So got back on the throttle and carried on through.
This is the FIM drag bike class, which in the European Championship basically means anything goes. Because you can have a top fuel bike like this monster machine here, which will do 220 miles an hour in 6 seconds, or a slower Pro Mod bike, which will do a 7.5 second pass at 180 miles an hour. 220, 180, it doesn't sound fair, does it? But those are the rules. Basically, the quick guys have got to make sure they do a reliable pass, and the slower guys on these machines have got to make sure they get off the line like greased lightning. This is a pro stock car, pro for professional, stock for the stock look of the bodywork. But actually they're some of the most sophisticated cars, because they rely on a perfect engine and chassis setup. They'll do 200 miles an hour in 7 seconds, and the top guys have American-tuned V8 engines, producing over 1,200 horsepower. The final ingredient, though, in a winning package is the driver. They've got to be cool and they've got to be calm, because these races are so close, they're often won and lost on the start line. And quite simply, the European champion this year could be the guy with the best reflexes.
Thanks, Steve. Big burnout for the McDonald's man, Nicholas Anderson. This is the first race in round 1 of the FIA Pro Stock Championship. Paul Tammy Brandon, now Ford powered for 1998, and he's our number 5 qualifier. For Anderson, though, he's in at number 4. And if you remember the demise of the McDonald's car in 1997, what a surprise to see them back here again, the McDonald's team, with a 1996 Firebird. As I said, all Ford now for Paul Brander, a 500 cubic inch Glidden engine in that car, and it is a Mike Thomas built 500 cubic inch Pontiac for Nicholas Anderson. As they move forward to the start line, they go through the ritual pre-stage, and who's going to be first into stage? Well, both cars in pre-stage. It's Brander in first. followed by Anderson, away they go! And these races so often decided on reaction times away from the line, but it is Anderson at the finish line who takes the win. 7.21 for McDonald's. Well, you can see a race that was literally won on the start line. Nicholas Anderson, a .44 reaction time. You can see the advantage at half track. A .52 for Paul Brander, and that lead extended over the finish line. McDonald's through to the semi-finals. This then, our second race, the Dodge Avenger of Jari Konala and the Mustang of Kjetil Hauger. The Dodge boys, or should it be the Dodge boys and girls? Susie Bjorkman, crew chief for Jari Konala, the Abergs Dodge, and one of the most popular and drag race crazy teams anywhere in Europe. Up against this man, Kjetil Hauger. Well, the fire crews as ever vigilant on the start line, waiting for any eventuality. Here we go. Both crew chiefs motioning their men forward. Susie lines up Jari Konala on that start line. It's all up to the boss now. Through the ritual, Hauger into stage first. Konala follows him in. Here we go, both in stage, on the green, away we go! And it is Konala just with the lead, you can see, at the finish line. He's there, another 7-2.
How did the run go?
Pretty good. Not good enough, but we'll do better.
Reaction times, a .492 for Kjetil Hauger, but for Jari Konala, a .487. He continued that advantage all the way to the finish line, and look at the distance, at least 2 car lengths. Again, the start line the factor. We come to this man, Jakob Ferrer. He was the number 6 qualifier and should have been racing Lena Nystrom. But on Saturday qualifying, take a look at this. Well, that was the end of Lena's racing weekend. I'm happy to report she wasn't badly injured. The roll cage in the car doing a superb job on that Oldsmobile Cutlass. And I think it's fair to say that Jari Konala lucky to get away without being hit by the debris. Lena was back at the raceway the following day. So this then, a by-run, an enforced by-run. Jakob Ferrer, Jan Muren, the crew chief on this car. And he goes through, don't forget lane choice is important, a 7.37. Different circumstances had this man, Michael Malmgren, on a by-run. Fair to say that last year, Murphy's Law applied, much more than Lady Luck number 1 qualifier, a 7.19 gets lane choice in the semis.
How did the run go?
Well, we knew the track was a little faster today, so we was aiming for lane choice and we got that, so... Yeah, well, we accepted a little faster, but we're pleased with this one.
Semi-finals in Pro Stock look like this. Michael Malmgren for Panasonic, racing Nicholas Anderson, the McDonald's car. Jari Konala will take on Jakob Ferrer.
Here it is, a top fuel dragster, the ultimate drag racing machine. It's a 26-foot long chassis carrying the driver in this little cockpit in here, and then behind him this monster engine, which is almost 100 times more powerful than your average road car. But there's no unleaded fuel in this baby. She runs on a chemical cocktail called nitromethane, which quite simply is a liquid explosive. Is it economical? No way! In 1 quarter-mile pass, she'll drink 14 gallons of fuel. But is it quick? You bet, because in 1 second, she'll hit 100 miles an hour, and in 5 seconds, you'll be hitting 280 miles an hour. So blink, and you'll literally miss it.
Well, Steve, this is the action for real. This is Barry Schiebels burning out the final qualifying attempt on Sunday. And running alongside him, Jens Debo. Not last year's champion, but was European Top Fuel champion in 1996. And I think both teams are working hard to find a baseline to work from. Few teams here this weekend, but who are here are getting a leapfrog over the other players. and can accrue FIA points here at very little expense. Here's Barry, looking very, very comfortable in that car. And Rune Fjeld, one of the most respected crew chiefs in European top fuel racing. Jens Nebo, calm and collected as ever in a new car, much lighter for 1998, and he's a cool cucumber. They line up on the line. This is qualifying, don't forget. Both crews looking for a baseline to start from. Into pre-stage, and on centre away, side by side. Both cars going well, but look at Barry, 5.04.
Bruno, how was the run?
Oh, that's picking up now. We had a bad blower, I think, so now it's changed the blower, so it looks like it's running good now. So we have something to start from now.
Quicker reaction time for Jens Nebo, a 49 to Barry playing catch-up on 5.3. Smoked the tyres from half track though to that 5.04. That was qualifying in the daytime, pretty exciting. Look what happens at night.
Now today is also the first round of the FIM Motorcycle Championship, and let's catch up with some of the action from the Pro Stock bikes.
I'm sitting on a Pro Stock bike which runs in the FIM European Championship. This machine will be doing passes in a high 7 seconds, probably hitting 170 miles an hour over the finish line. The engine between my legs here puts out 250 brake horsepower, and the engine alone is worth £25,000. So if you want the pleasure of riding this bike, you'll be looking at spending over £30,000. It's a lot of money, and it's dangerous too. But the most dangerous part of this ride isn't from the start to the finish line. No, it's when you go over the finish line and you back off, and the pressure comes out of this rear wheel, and then this bike goes from being a friendly beast to more like a bucking bronco.
We join FIM Pro Stock Bike at the semi-final stage. Round one went this way. You can see Stefan Merwell races Paul Willis, Roger Peterson takes on Ian Burns. This then, our first race. It's the number 4 qualifier Paul Willis for Great Britain, and Stefan Merwell from Sweden, the number 1 qualifier. Well, Stefan arrived here when Urban van Driel broke at half track. Paul Willis got round Martin Fisher to arrive here at the semi-final. Well, very important to line the bikes up in a straight line. Here on the start line is Merwell into pre-stage first, looks across at Willis. Paul Willis rolls into pre-stage. Who will want to go in stage first? It is Merwell, closely followed by Willis. Here they go on the green. Neck and neck at half track. You couldn't choose between these two bikes. From the finish line, it is Merwell who takes the win. A scant few thousandths of a second decided that result. And thank goodness we have electronic timing, because by eye, you couldn't separate those bikes on the finish line. It is Merwell on his Suzuki through into the final. Just look at the finish line. Well, our second race had this man, Roger Peterson. He was the number 2 qualifier. Again, Suzuki is the bike, and alongside him in this semi-final is Ian Burns. Well, psychologically, the advantage on the start line going to the man who stages last. And look at this, both in pre-stage, Burns in stage, closely followed by Peterson, and away goes Peterson. Ian Burns very much on a learning curve. The curve doesn't come steeper than that 788. Well, let's take a look at the way it pans out for the final. Stefan Merwell arrived here via Paul Willis, racing Roger Peterson in the final.
Boom.
Looks like I just blew the tyre on the start line. Come up on the burnout, okay? And boom! Not nice.
Now let's join Keith Bartlett, the European drag racing promoter, to find out the changes that he put in place over the winter.
We've acquired the whole of the television rights from Bernie Ecclestone now, and basically what this means is we can now really start to market the championship from the commercial viewpoint and overall television broadcast. In addition to that, I've been in close negotiations to bring 2 to 3 new tracks to the championship. So I guess the first major changes people are going to realise is the championship's now going to grow to 7 or 8 rounds in 6 European countries, and that there is an established pattern for developing the commercial side of the championship. We're in our 3rd year. Everyone's beginning to realise that this FIA championship is an established motorsport championship. It's attracting the creme de la creme of Europe. We know that people from America are seriously looking, Australia. I think the crowds are aware. I'd like to think we are beginning to market properly, but we've still got a long way to go.
Burnouts for the first semi-final of Pro Stock. We're in car with Mike Malmgren. You can see how the cars move about. Crouch is very tense at this moment. As we've said before, these racers in Pro Stock are won and lost on the start line. I've spoken about the psychology that goes on down there. Nowhere more stern than in Pro Stock. This young man, 21 years old, with the McDonald's Firebird, now facing some of his heroes in Pro Stock. Nobody more wily than Mike Malmgren. Again, rolling into pre-stage. Who's going to be first to stage? These drivers like to control their destiny. Malmgren is followed by Anderson. And away on the green line, it's Anderson all the way. You saw his car with Mike Malmgren, a 7:20 winner. Well, reaction times in slow motion. Mike Malmgren sleeping again, a 0.52, a 0.45 for the young man for McDonald's. Gives him the win. Into our second semi-final. And this fits unknown quantity, Jakob Ferrer, with long-time Pro Stock campaigner Jari Konola. Well, everything must be stacked in this man's favour. He's had the experience in Pro Stock, was a winner here at the European Finals at Santa Pod last September, and must be the favourite. Well, Jakob Ferrer, new to the Firebird, the Bob Ingalls engine car, 500 cubic inches. And of course, it is a Konola engine powering Jari Konola. They built their own engine for racing. That is the kind of confidence this team have. Here we go, moving into the ritual staging routine. Is Jakob Ferrer going to give anything to Jari Konola? I doubt it. Look at this, both guys very, very steady. Into pre-stage goes Konola. Ferrer follows him. Into stage, it's Konola again, followed by Ferrer on the green, side by side. And it's Konola already a half car up on the finish line. Konola takes the win, 7:24. Wow, what a race.
Is there more to come from the car in the final?
Oh yeah, it wasn't a perfect round, this one, so. And I think we have a better driver too. He's known for his reaction times. I'm counting on him.
Well, in slow motion, the reaction times, how right Susie was. A 43 for Jari Konola, a 48 for Jakob Ferrer. And look how this translated at the finish line. Well, let's take a look then at how the final shapes up in FIA Pro Stock. We're going to be looking at Nicholas Anderson for McDonald's, racing Jari Konola. On to the final of FIM Pro Stock 5. Number 1 qualifier, Stefan Mayerwell. Alongside this man, Roger Peterson, the mobile bike. The crews have done their work now. All down to the rider. A quick pat for confidence. I wonder if he'll need it. Stefan Mayerwell is hot to trot. Into pre-stage. Both bikes in the stage. On comes the green. Away they go. Nothing to choose. But Mayerwell clicks it off. Hands the automatic win to Roger Peterson. He goes through 7.88, takes the win. What happened to Mayerwell? Well, the reaction time's nothing to choose, but take a look from behind. Look at Mayerwell heading for the concrete. Wisely comes out the throttle. Hands what wasn't ever going to be an easy win to Roger Peterson. Well, that puts him on top of the leaderboard. Mayerwell in second place for Sweden. Third is Britain's Paul Willis. Fourth, Bert Dietrich for Germany. Martin Bishop for Britain in fifth. Miriana Dietrich is sixth for Germany. The final of Pro Stock Car. We caught up with Nicholas Anderson before this race.
It's been very tough. I do it, I think so.
You never raced against Jari before. So, yeah, we do it last weekend at the test session. It's worked fine then.
Good. Well, good luck in the final.
Well, lane choice to Anderson then. How does his opponent, Jari Connolly, view the final?
It's Nicholas's first time, so does that make you confident?
Yeah, because he's the new guy, and I don't know how he is on the starting line. Maybe he's nervous or not, I don't know. But I think that's cool.
Well, we were about to find out this, the tension you can cut with a knife, the final of Pro Stock. McDonald's races Abergs, and it's Firebird against Dodge. Again, the crews have done all their work. Now down to the driver and the high tension of the staging of these cars. The FIA final for Pro Stock. All the experience is in that left-hand lane. Here we go, rolling towards the line. And it is Connolly into stage first, followed by Anderson. Connolly against stages, here we go, the green light. Nothing to choose, and that looked a great reaction time from Connolly coming to the finish line. It's Anderson who takes the win, look at that, 7:19. Wow, as the crews celebrate a famous victory, let's look in slow motion. Indeed, Jari Connolly saved the best to last. 0.41 his reaction time. You can see the lead he had over Anderson at half track, but look at the young man pull it back in the second half of the track on the finish line. His 0.46 reaction time needed it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to thank all the fans we have here in Santa Pod who helped us last year. When we crashed, helped us give start with the man they gave. I want to thank them. This is for them. This is a victory for them.
Well, let's look at the leaderboard. Nicholas Anderson, of course, on top. From Jari Connolly, Michael Malmgren in third, Jakob Pereira fourth, Lena Nystrom in her absence is fifth from Paul Brander. Britain's Barry Sheevels prepares for the final of Top Fuel. We spoke to Barry before the race.
You got lane choice in the final?
Yeah, it's quickest qualifying time was 5:04. Yeah, so we've got lane choice. I don't think it makes that much difference really. Both lanes look pretty even at the moment. Jens is a good competitor. He's been a European Top Fuel champion before, so he'll be there at the end. Yeah.
Over to the final, the burnouts decide to heat and clean the tyres ready for the run. We spoke to Jens about this race.
Barry's got lane choice for the final.
Yeah, we have a slight problem with the oil leak down there before, but we are hoping to be back in the final now, and I think the track is all right in both lanes, so shouldn't be any problem.
Well, this is it, the highlight of the whole weekend. The final FIA Top Fuel. Barry Sheevels for Great Britain. Jens Nebo, the number 2 qualifier, which is quite a turn up for the Bucks. Believe me, Barry riding high on that 5.04. I'm sure the crew felt this was the time for the Sheevels man. So Rune Fjeld motions his man forward. This is it, the tensest moment, I think, in any drag race. Barry rolls forward, gets the car across those light beams. 5,500 horsepower per car. Into pre-stage goes Jens, followed by Sheevels. On stage they go, but before the green, it's a red light for Sheevels. Jens Nebo takes the win, 5.11. Take a look in slow motion how hard Barry was trying. Red lights, and to make matters worse, there goes the supercharger belt.
5:11 is okay. We are of course looking for a lower time, but we have quite a good top speed. 280 is very good. It smoked the tires a bit, I think, at half track, but it couldn't be better, I think.
Let's look at the leaderboard. It is, of course, Jens Nebo in first place. Britain's Barry Sheebles in second place. The championship now moves to Finland in July. Well done to all our winners as they celebrate on the podium. We had a quick word with Nicholas Anderson. Nicholas explained to us what a disadvantage he had away from the start line. You can see in our slow motion replay the advantage that Jari Konala had, and it was just a great driving job by the McDonald's man that got him through to the finish line first. Now let's speak with our Top Fuel finalists.
I wasn't sure we could beat Barry here on this track because this is his home track, and we got some problems. Did you see we have a lot of welding on the car and everything is going the wrong way, but at least at the final, yeah, you did see the red light from Barry and we won.
And I know the main competition is going to be this season on the European Tour, and he's sitting next to me. And I've got to say they're probably one of the best teams around. They're very professional, they look good. They're very, very dedicated to going drag racing, and that's what it's all about. I'm working on the lights, and unfortunately in the final, I was a little bit too quick.